When I was 3, my dad, my mom, and I, we were on our way to drop her off one night to work. And while we were at a red light, there was a drunk driver in a pickup truck behind us, and he was going probably around like 50, 60 miles an hour. And he slammed our car from behind. And right on impact, my mom's neck snapped. And then as my dad went to go turn the car around to do a U-turn, another car came from the other direction and T-boned right into my mom's side. And so my mom actually ended up passing right on impact. This really affected my family. My brother started to spiral out of control. He started to sell drugs, gangbang, drink, get into the wrong crowds. Seeing my brother do that, I kind of started to follow in his footsteps. In high school, that only got progressively worse. My brother, when he turned 18, he did an armed robbery. And when he got out of jail, my Uncle Joe, he had been a believer for some time, and he kind of introduced my brother to Jesus, and he told him to start coming to Montrose Baptist Church. And one weekend, he ended up giving his life to Christ. Now, you have to understand, to me, this was hilarious because my brother was someone I used to party with, drink with, do drugs with. And to hear him say that he had given his life to Christ, man, we started to laugh. And I remember one weekend I came over to his house, and he would have hip-hop music playing every single time. And the one time I walked into his kitchen, he had K-Love playing. And they were singing about Jesus. And I was like, dude, what's going on with you, man? What is this? And so I saw my brother's life change, but I decided just to go down my own path. And so all throughout high school, I decided to do drugs, alcohol, parties, sleep around with girls. When I turned 18 years old, from my mom's passing, I received $150,000 inheritance, and I blew it all in 6 months. So on drugs, partying, women, clothes, cars, jewelry, anything that you can think of. And it was really interesting. When you have the money, everyone was there and everyone was my friend, but as soon as that money was gone, all those people around me, they decided to disappear. And now it almost felt empty, and it felt lonely, and I felt hopeless. To be honest with you, I didn't really want anything to do with God. And so the last party I went to was in October of 2017, and I showed up to this party and I took a handful of pills, and the next morning I woke up, I had blacked out, and I woke up in a random girl's house. And I didn't know who this girl was. I'm ashamed to say that. But that morning I had woke up with a pain in my chest, and I used to party quite a bit, so I just thought I was hungover. And Monday came around, and this pain in my chest was still hurting. I was starting to sweat, starting to lose a little bit of weight. Now Wednesday comes around 1 a.m. I have a panic attack, and I drive myself to the hospital. They hook me up to all these different machines, and after 4 or 5 hours of them doing blood tests, the doctor, she comes back into the room and she's like, "Sir, you have heartburn." And I'm like, "No, I don't have heartburn. Like, I've had heartburn, and this isn't heartburn." And I remember being so upset. And so they sent me home that Wednesday. And I remember Thursday came around and I felt horrible. I'm losing weight, I'm sweating, I can't sleep, I'm going through withdrawals. Saturday comes around, I'm finally so miserable in my life that I decided to pick up the phone, and I called my brother and I asked him, I'm like, "Hey man, are you going to church?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm going to the bridge, you should come this Sunday." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what, man, maybe I will come on Sunday." And I ended up sneaking in, and I went up to the balcony, and they were just closing out with the first worship song. And to me, this was really interesting. I grew up Muslim, and so for me to see all these Christians raising their hands and singing, this wasn't something that I was used to. And the second song was "Oh Come to the Altar," and I remember the lyrics so distinctly. It said, "Are you hurting and broken within, overwhelmed by the weight of your sin? Jesus is calling." And I just remember in that moment becoming really emotional. And I'm not a really emotional guy, but I just told God, I said, "God, if you're real, I need you to be real to me because I don't know where to turn." And God said, "Denim, like, man, I am real. And now you're mine, and I'm going to use you." And from that moment, I gave my life to Christ. And he completely transformed my life. And so that same day, I actually ended up messaging the campus pastor of Randhurst, Jordan. He was the youth pastor here at the time. And I just said, "Hey man," I was like, "I don't know what you do." I was like, "But I want to do what you do." And he said, "Well, hey, but before you do that, why don't you just come over and have dinner with me?" And he's really the one who took my faith from a walk to a run. He got me plugged into a small group, and this small group is really the people who pushed me, who challenged me. I really felt like, man, what God had done in my life and all the experiences and all the pain and the trauma that I have been through, I didn't want our middle schoolers and our high schoolers to experience that. And so I started serving in the student ministry. And then I got offered the opportunity to become a youth pastor here. And then from a youth pastor, I've had the opportunity to be the campus pastor. I always tell people, I always feel like I have the front row seat to the best show in the world. I get to see baptisms. I get to see people who come here who are addicts and alcoholics just like me, and I get to see their lives transformed because of what Jesus has done in their life. And so this is why this church means so much to me. This is why I got married at this church. This is why my wife and I, we give to this church, because I love what this church has done for me, but not only what it's done for me, but what I've seen what it's done for others. My name is Denim. I'm the campus pastor here at the Bridge at the Des Plaines location, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.